What is the
I'm
violet
so
flame?
glad you asked. What is the violet flame? We're waiting all night to hear this.
Yes. I would ask, don't worry.
Textbook definition, seventh ray aspect of the energy of the Holy Spirit. Doesn't that just satisfy everybody? So, think of a beam of light going through a prism and suddenly there's a rainbow. We all saw that in science, right?
Mhm.
So the light, and we use the word light to describe a luminous, self-intelligent substance that is the divine consciousness, that is the fabric of the universe. We just call that light. That light coming into expression splits into what we call 7 rays. And each of those 7 rays operates through a different chakra. And each of those rays has its own color. So we showed you the first 3 rays in the little tiny 3-fold flame. First ray is blue. It's the ray of the divine blueprint. It's the ray of the will of God. It's the ray of power and protection. Second ray is yellow. It's the ray of wisdom. Third ray is pink. It's the ray of love. And so on down to 7. The 7th ray is violet. It is the energy of transmutation. And when that violet ray is focused and bursts forth into a flame, you have violet flame. And anything that violet flame touches gets cleaned up, gets transmuted, gets perfected, gets raised in vibration so that no more impurities and no more imperfections exist. Saint Germain has told us that the violet flame is the supreme antidote for all poisons. But it goes much farther. We live in a very toxic environment. Saint Germain tells us that we can use the violet flame to clean up everything in the environment. From air pollution, to electromagnetic smog, to cell phone radiation, to atomic nuclear radiation, and yet so much more. Everything on the emotional plane, all hatred, anger, sadness, all negative emotional energy can be transmuted and perfected into a more joyous frequency. And that's just the beginning. Isaac Newton told us that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Basic scientific principle we've come to understand. When you understand yourself as a divine being, when you understand the physical body as a vehicle, it's not such a stretch to imagine that this is not the first and only vehicle that you've had. So reincarnation actually starts to make sense when you look at questions like, why was this child born in a third world country with no opportunity and a crippled body? And why was this other individual born into such a more advanced culture with tremendous opportunity? If there is justice in eternity, reincarnation makes a lot of sense. You earn your next opportunity based on merit. But what about all the mistakes you've made? All the errors of all the previous embodiments that have created the cage of limitation that you find yourself in. If you are responsible for what happens in your life, then you are responsible for every mistake you've made, and somebody needs to clean that up. And it's not the chimney sweeper. Before you can become a master, you got to clean up a whole bunch of what we call karma. Guess what? Violet Flame does that. It really does. And the only way that you can know that is to experience the Violet Flame in your life. Just because Michael said so shouldn't have a lot of value in your life. It should be an inspiration to experiment.
It does now. I've experimented.
Exactly. And that's what Saint Germain's Sacred Science of Alchemy is all about. It's about learning what are these fundamental cosmic laws, these natural laws, these laws of God to which, if we become obedient, we can have less pain. We can develop self-mastery on a level that was previously not available. We can clean up all the karmic residue of error of 1,000 lifetimes and get on with the business of becoming a perfected being. And not have to come back into embodiment to relearn the same old lessons again. What a treasure. I haven't seen Violet Flame for sale in the corner store.
Jar.
It's not in a jar in any store. Lightning in a bottle, right? Where do you get this stuff?
Saint Germain.
The energy coming through our throat chakra is divine infinite potential and produces what we speak. When we speak Violet Flame into existence, it comes into existence here on the physical plane. It is sourced on a much higher level. It comes from a spiritual dimension. But we want it operating here in the physical plane. We have to invoke it. We have to call it forth. So we begin with a very, very simple mantra, a Violet Flame mantra. I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires. And we're going to work with this for a few minutes, and we're going to adjust the sound quality coming through, and we're going to adjust the tone and the vibration and the frequency as we do this. And we're going to actually raise our frequency into a higher level as we do this. And those of you that have never done this, if you don't try, you won't know. Together?